Happy Tuesday, 5/21. I apologize for not posting the video on Sunday or Monday, but I was at a Project Lead the Way conference over the weekend and totally lost my voice. So it would have just been a video staring at my face and hearing a lot of screeching. So I don't think anybody wanted that. So going through some stuff for the video this week. First thing I want to say is all your discussion posts from week 4 are graded. Today and tomorrow I'm grading your Try Something New. I'll be putting notes and feedback right on those documents within the box on the submit area. So in the next day or two, your grades will be up to date. And I'm looking really excited to see what you guys learned over the last 4 weeks on trying some new things. And so let's jump right in. This is a great quote. For what you see and hear depends a good deal on where you are standing. And that's from C.S. Lewis, The Magician's Nephew, which is part of the Chronicles of Narnia book. It's probably the least known book of that series. It actually comes right before The Witch, the Lion, and the Wardrobe. But I love that idea. It's about perspective, right? Depending on where you're looking and where you're standing, it can really change your thoughts in how you're interacting.
Stephanie, you copy?
Sorry about that. I'm at my site this morning and I forgot to turn my radio off. So this week gets into something that's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, and it's the SAMR model. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But really, SAMR is a way to roll out technology change, but I think you can use the SAMR model for almost like a change matrix, a great strategy and way to roll out anything. And to be a successful leader, really in education, the only thing you need to be is a great agent of change and managing change, because that's what education is. We're going to look at Bloom's taxonomy, and some of that's in the text, and Common Core standards, which, we all think, oh, Common Core standards have been around a long time. When you really dive into them and you pop over into like even the website here from the CDE, there's so much more in those standards than, we kind of remember or think, we think we know it, but then when you review them, it's crazy. So the content for this week, you're going to read or review chapter 10 in the text and then read 11 to 12. So there's quite a bit of reading. And then there's 3 websites to go to and kind of go through. And really, I know the CDE website on Common Core may not seem that exciting, but there is a lot of great information. So here are the discussion posts. There are 2 this week in bullet point form, because, that's how my brain works, but I'll pop over and show this to you right now. Is respond to one of the following prompts, and some of you are already in there. And which of the 4 things needed to help students get information in their long-term memory is most difficult for you? Or what action can you take to shift your classroom towards more discovery learning and less teacher talk? And so that's more like, are you a guide, be a guide on the side, not a sage on the stage, right? That kind of cliche. So you don't have to answer both those prompts, but one of those prompts. And the second discussion question is, what does it mean to be a facilitator of learning instead of guardian of knowledge? And I love that question right there. Facilitator versus guardian, and what skills do you currently possess that make you a facilitator, and where do you need to build up and get better at it? And then what are 2 assistive technology tools you can use to be in more comprehensive ways to facilitate learning? So that's a great question. The one thing I would say, make sure, 1, that you're getting your posts in, and the responses can't just be a sentence or 2, right? There's no length requirement, but it's got to have some depth and substance to it and contribute to the conversation. So your assignments for this week are those 2 questions and your Bloom's Taxonomy SAMR presentation. So I'll get into that and just, pop over there in 1 second. And then coming up ahead, and that's not a presentation, sorry. You have an assisted tools in-service presentation, your e-portfolio. And so those are the things you're focused on there. So those things are really coming up in the next few weeks. And then once again, like I said, I'll go through the video. Popping over to the week 5. This was fascinating for me. So, if you could get even 10 minutes and get into this, I think it would be helpful and refreshing. It's a great little message. There's all your content, your discussion board. Assignment 5 is due at the end of week 6, and that's the presentation, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Your portfolio, you should be working on that every week. I've started to get a few emails and clarification questions on the portfolio. Once again, as you're going through the weeks and you're putting stuff in there, if you have questions, please let me know. And then your SAMR revised lesson plan and your directions for that, and that's due at the end of this week. So let me pop over there. So you're going to take one of your current lesson plans, highlighting where Bloom's taxonomy is present, and then how you've incorporated facets of SAMR, right? And so you could use color coding to show the required elements, font manipulation, some way to just do a distinction there. And make sure you hit that 1 or 2 paragraph explanation of the changes you made to the lesson plan. Make sure APA, title page, works cited, all that kind of good stuff is done up to APA. And if you don't know what SAMR is, just Google SAMR. You could look at websites or just look even at images. There's so many good images for SAMR. This is one of my favorite because this makes sense. Substitution, augmentation, right? So you're with a functional improvement. So you go from coffee to latte. Significant redesign. So you originally started at coffee, now you're at a caramel macchiato. And then redefinition or redefine is completely new, right? So you get this pumpkin spice. And just so you know, there's lots of images. I'll just Google that for you right now. And there's lots of different ways to look through there. And, SAMR, substitution, augmentation, modification. So there's lots of images on how to define it. But like I said, I think SAMR is a model that all ed leaders need to be good at going through. And so that's for assignment 4. It's 20 points. It says submit as a Word document in Blackboard. Once again, if you want to submit it as a Word doc, I would also say submit it into Blackboard as a Word doc, but then also you can put that link in the comments section to the Google Doc as well, just to cover your bases there. And coming up at the end of week 6 is this assistive tools in-service presentation. I'm not going to go over all of this since it's not due this week, but the following week, but I'll just highlight a couple points. When you're doing slides, I would say most people put way too many words on a slide. And so this is 8 to 10 slides in service presentation. You're training your staff on a tool. Okay, so that's kind of the premise. You're training your staff. So bullet points and utilize the speaker notes. That is super important. For this program, what I always tell students is the speaker notes is where what you would, if you were presenting in class in front of us, that's what you would say. That's where you're going to put what you're going to say. So your slides are going to be like traditional, true slides. A lot of times students put way too much on there because they're like, well, I'm submitting it, I'm not actually presenting it. In the speaker notes is where you're going to put that. If you want to try adding voiceover, that is one way to do it for sure, and embed that in there, or even do a little screencast and pop that in there. You can do that as well. But using pictures, images, video, audio, and bullet points, and be succinct, and then use the notes for what you would say. And also, if you have references, don't put those on the slides. Put them in the notes section. You don't even need a reference slide, which I know a lot of assignments say have a reference slide. Put those include any necessary citation references right on the slide. Don't do that. Put it in the notes. Put it in the notes section, and I can see it because it's just going to junk up your slide, and then that's not an effective slide. And so I really want you to get used to making effective slides. And so once this is due in week 6, you're also going to put it a second place. But once again, I'll talk more about that. You can read this. If you have questions this week on it, ask me this week because this is due at the end of next week. So once again, that is week 5. If you have any questions, as always, give me a call. Shoot me a text. Text is great. Shoot me an email, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. And here's to a great week 5. And once again, sorry that this video is a little bit late, but I didn't think you wanted to hear me screeching with no voice. Have a great week 5, everyone.